Hey VOZ, welcome to the last week before spring break, or week 5 for you. We will be doing two things this week. One is there is an assessment that you have, and then we have a short notebook that's sort of an introduction to the second part of creative writing that we'll be working on. So let's look at the week and then look at the assessment. So today you're going to watch this video and start working on your assessment. Today's video will most likely be fairly short since we're just going over the assessment today. I want to make sure that you understand the different elements of it. Tomorrow you should be working on your assessment as well and possibly finish it. If it takes more than today and tomorrow to finish it, that is all right, but it shouldn't take less time than that. There are 3 different parts. I want you to take your time and do well on it. So please don't submit it before tomorrow. On Wednesday, you will have a second video to go over your notebook, the short part of your notebook, and start looking at story elements. You will have a practice of story elements on Thursday, and then Friday is sort of a free time to finish everything and submit it. The assessment is your priority this week, as it is worth more points, and I will be assessing it on your skill and not just completion like the notebooks, and it is your first assessment of the quarter. All right, so take a moment, pause the video if you need to, and go find your assessment. Your assessment has 3 parts. There is one where you're identifying figurative language, one part where you're going to do a close read, and one part where you're going to mimic the poem. So first of all, you will need to read the poem. And I'll show you that in a minute. Then on the next page you will have multiple lines of figurative language from that poem, and you will identify what type of figurative language it is. You may use your past notebooks, past videos to look up what those types of figurative language are and the notes that you have on them. Then you will summarize each stanza as your close reading. Summarizing as in paraphrase and rewriting in your own words, explaining what each stanza means. There are multiple interpretations of each stanza, so make sure you explain yourself. And then the final part of this is to mimic the poem, similar to when we did mentor sentences, and we practiced mimicking of poetry or figurative language a few times this quarter. So let's look at the assessment itself. So first there's this poem called Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. She's a very famous author, wrote many poems, and this is a 3-stanza poem. Okay, so each of these little chunks is a stanza. That's what you will be describing and explaining in your close reading. The first part of this, which is worth 8 points, each of them is worth 2. There is really a right or wrong answer in this case. Later on in the assessment, there isn't so much a right or wrong answer because there's multiple opportunities to be right, but here I know what type of figurative language each of these are. You need to choose the correct one. Each of them is worth 2 points. Okay. Then the close reading, this is where you're going to rewrite the stanza in your own words. Remember, you're explaining what that stanza means, explaining different words maybe of it or phrases that are confusing, and then make sure you explain yourself too and explain why you think that, because there are multiple interpretations. There's multiple ways to interpret this, so I want to make sure that you understand why you believe that that stanza means what you are saying. And there are 3 stanzas. Each of those will be worth 4 points for a total of 12 points. And then the final thing is the mimic. In this case, it's very similar to mentor sentences where you want to fill in the blanks with the same type of word from the original. So you will need to look at the original poem to be able to identify what type of word should go here and here, etc. So for example, hope is a noun, feathers is a noun. So just to start out, your title of your new poem is going to be something is the thing with something. You're choosing 2 nouns to put those there, and the first line of your poem will be the same. Something is the thing with something. That perches is a verb, in the soul is a noun. Okay, I'm not going to give you the rest of that. You'll need to do that on your own. The mimic is also worth 8 points. So for a total, this is worth 28 points. And like I said, I will be assessing it based on your ability, not just on completion. So make sure that you do complete all of it, because you do get completion points. Like you get some credit for just doing it, but then I will be assessing it on the rubric, 1 through 4 score. And I mean, sometimes it's like 0.5, 1, 1.5, but it's a 1 through 4 rating scale. All right, let's see if there's anything else I needed to go over. That's your paragraph. Okay, so if you need any help on the assessment in the meantime, please feel free to message me. Remember, assessments are open book, open notes, but they are not open people. Don't ask for help from other people. You can ask like clarifying questions like, do you know what this means? Not like what the poem means. You have to interpret the poem, but like what I'm asking you to do. If you're not sure what I'm asking you to do, you can ask for clarification on what you're supposed to do, but not ask for help on interpreting the poem, what type of figurative language, things like that. You're going to be on your own, but you can use your resources. All right, good luck.